My name's David Nash. I am the owner of the gallery here, Mitchell Innes and Nash, and I'm very pleased to welcome Michael Pepiat, a distinguished author, art historian, and friend of the De Staël family. We have here an exhibition of paintings of Nicolas De Staël from 1950 to 1955. Can you tell us a little bit about De Staël's life and his work?
I think he was always looking for his own way. He was 100% an individualist. He said there is always a subject, and the area that interested him most was what he called the between, l'entre-deux, between two sort of fields, as it were, the figurative field and the abstract field. And he wanted to trace a path, never losing sight of the visible world, of the real world. I mean, he was a realist in a sense. He was a realist, but he wanted to reinvent reality. After his death, after his dramatic death, Staël began to be forgotten about because there was the great wave of American abstract expressionism, and that really, he was covered by that wave. His work was covered. I think it's very interesting to look at abstract expressionism through Staël and to look at Staël through abstract expressionism. They're both, these are both movements, as it were, where painters are trying to establish, to invent a new vocabulary, to renew the language of art, from different directions, but their quest is the same.
Can you talk a little bit about how De Staël's technique changed over the years, from the thick and crusty paintings of the early 50s to the thinner, brighter washes of the later years?
The paintings describe a complete arc from the war years, when, of course, the world was dark, and Paris perhaps particularly dark, the city of light, in shadow of the occupation, in shadow of defeat. I think that's very much reflected in Staël's work, the gloom of an occupied city. He was living in this terrible poverty, and the paintings as a kind of mirror of what is going on in the man, what is going on, I suppose, in the world, because great painting is always a mirror of much more than the person who's doing it. There is a parallel here with Van Gogh, also a very intense and moody, depressive, melancholic painter from the north, who is drawn like a moth to the south, to the light of the south, and whose palette is transformed. You can almost see him walking into the sun. You might say that it in itself is an almost suicidal gesture, that he's drawn to the sun. It's almost a kind of madness to have that bright orange sky, to have those hills turned into pyramids of the most intense and, in some way, clashing colours. Yet we see it as a landscape. It is this complete transformation of, it's almost molten. It's like a flow of lava that suddenly settled for a moment. And I guess, you know, there was a flow of lava in Staël. It was a sort of impossible life to hold it together. But I don't think you would have got such extraordinarily intense and dramatic pictures if he had had the full span. I think somehow he rolled it all up into one ball, as it were, and threw it at us in the first half of his life. And this show helps to bring back this extraordinary vision of a painter who died very early and whose work I've been following for 40 years and whose family I knew. This is a very moving moment for me to be sitting surrounded by a marvellous choice of works by an artist I admire deeply.